So now that we've got the foundational stuff out of the way, we can dive in and start writing some real C# code. And what we're going to do in this particular example is see how to read information from and write information to the console window. And this is important to know how to do because for the rest of the course, we're basically going to be building examples that use the console as the place where we write information to and read information from. So we need to get a fundamental understanding of how the console works in order to do that. So I've opened up under Chapter 3 the Hello World project in the example files folder. And if you don't have that, you can just simply create a new project and follow along. The other thing I've opened up is the example snippets.txt file. And this contains the code that I'm going to be copying and pasting from so that you don't have to sit there and watch me type. So let's go back to the program. You can see that we have our Hello World project. And down here in our main function, this is where we're going to be filling the code in. So let's go ahead and do something really simple, which we've already done a couple times, but just for refresher, let's write some information out to the console. So I'm going to copy this line right here. It says console.writeLine. I'm going to paste that in. So the console object has a series of functions that read and write data, and the most common ones are writeLine and readLine. And you can guess what they do. WriteLine writes out a string of text followed by a carriage return, which takes the cursor back to the new line. Now, we could just use write, which writes out the string and does not put a carriage return on there, but for readability, we'll just use WriteLine. And then there's the readLine function, which reads a string of text. In this case, I'm using it just to keep the console window up so you can see the example working, but it will return a string if we wanted to. So let's just go ahead and save this, build it. You see the build succeeded, and run it. And no surprise, the string hello world gets written out to the console. So let's go ahead and make a couple of changes here. What I'm going to do now is go back to the snippets. And this time we're going to read information from the console window and then write it out. So I'm going to copy these 3 lines, paste them in. So now what we're going to do is write out a string that says, what is your name? And then we're going to use the readLine function to read a string of data from the console and then write out a message that says, hello there, plus whatever name the person gave us. So you can see here that we've got a string variable that is being assigned to the result of the readLine function. Down here, we're just not using the result, which is why the window is staying up. But here, we're actually going to read the result and use it in the next string. So I'm going to save, I'll build, and we'll run. And you can see it says, hello world, what is your name? And I'm going to type in Joe. Hit return, and it says, why hello there, Joe. Let's go take a look at the code and see why that works. So you can see that the string variable here that gets returned from readLine contains